Lesson 1. Professional Introduction.
Good morning, I am James from ABC Company, and I have been following your firm's recent market expansions with interest.
Nice to meet you, James. How can I assist you today? I am the lead strategist for the Regional Development Team.
I am interested in exploring a potential collaboration regarding the new sustainable energy project your firm just announced.
There is much hype surrounding that project, as it is one of the first of its kind in this specific geographical region.
While the initiative is trending, the long-term profitability of such a large-scale shift remains a controversial subject.
We believe that the environmental benefits and the future regulatory changes will eventually favor those who act early.
I shall provide you with our corporate profile so you can review our previous experience with similar infrastructure projects.
That would be very beneficial. Do you have a specific timeline in mind for when you would like to begin discussions?
I would prefer to arrange a formal meeting between our senior executives within the next 14 business days.
I will consult my director's calendar and contact you via electronic mail to finalize a suitable date and time.
I find that these networking events are invaluable for identifying partners who share our commitment to innovation.
I agree. The opportunity to engage in person allows for a much more nuanced exchange of ideas and objectives.
I look forward to receiving your correspondence and beginning what I hope will be a very successful partnership.
I shall also send you a summary of our technical requirements so that your team can prepare accordingly for our meeting.
That is an excellent suggestion. The more information we have, the more productive our initial consultation will be.
It was a pleasure to meet you today, James. I am confident that our firms have much to offer one another.
The pleasure was mine. I am eager to see how our combined expertise can drive this sustainable initiative forward.
I will be in touch soon. Please enjoy the remainder of the symposium and the keynote speeches scheduled for this afternoon.
Thank you. I intend to attend the lecture on emerging markets before I depart for the airport this evening.
Lesson 2. Intense Flavors.
I find that using fresh ingredients rather than dried ones fundamentally changes the quality of a home-cooked meal.
I agree. The flavor will be more intense and vibrant if we use herbs that were harvested only this morning.
And what type of basil should we get to complement the specific varieties of tomatoes we have selected for the sauce?
There is currently much hype regarding the use of lemon basil in traditional Mediterranean dishes, which is quite interesting.
While it is trending among modern chefs, it remains a controversial choice for those who prefer the classic Genovese variety.
I believe the classic sweet basil is the most appropriate choice for this particular recipe to ensure an authentic taste.
I shall go to the local market to see if they have any organic bunches that are particularly fragrant and healthy.
Do you think we should also incorporate some fresh oregano, or would that overwhelm the delicate flavor of the basil?
A small amount of oregano can add a wonderful earthy depth, provided it is used sparingly and added toward the end.
I will finish preparing the base for the sauce while you are searching for the herbs at the market stalls.
I find that the process of cooking together is a very relaxing way to conclude a long and busy professional week.
I agree. It allows us to focus on a tangible task that provides an immediate and delicious reward for our efforts.
I shall also look for some high-quality olive oil that was produced locally to further enhance the richness of the dish.
That is a wise addition. The quality of the oil is often the secret to a truly exceptional Italian pasta sauce.
I am quite hungry already. The aroma of the fresh ingredients is making me very much look forward to our dinner.
I will ensure that the pasta is cooked perfectly al dente so that it retains its structure when mixed with the sauce.
Your attention to the technical details of cooking is what makes your meals consistently superior to any restaurant.
I appreciate the compliment. I simply find that taking the time to do things correctly is always worth the extra effort.
I will return in 20 minutes. Please ensure the heat remains low so the tomatoes can simmer gently while I am away.
Lesson 3. Summer Cinema.
The temperature today has been quite extreme. I believe finding an indoor activity would be the most sensible choice.
A lot of new movies are released at the theaters in the summer. It is the perfect time for a cinematic experience.
I find that air-conditioned theaters with new movies provide a much-needed sanctuary during these intense heat waves.
There is currently much hype surrounding the latest science fiction epic that has received very positive critical reviews.
While the visual effects are trending on social media, the long duration of the film is a controversial point for some viewers.
I believe that a complex story requires sufficient time to be told effectively and to develop the characters properly.
I shall purchase the tickets for the 7 o'clock screening if there are still suitable seats available in the center.
Do you think we should also buy some refreshments, or should we wait until after the film to have a late dinner?
I prefer to have a light snack now and enjoy a formal meal afterwards so we can discuss the themes of the movie.
I find that the atmosphere of a theater during a major summer release is always filled with a unique sense of excitement.
It is a shared experience that is quite different from watching a film in the isolation of one's own living room.
I will check if there are any special editions or behind-the-scenes features being shown alongside the main feature.
That would be very interesting. I always enjoy learning about the technical challenges the filmmakers had to overcome.
I shall meet you at the entrance of the third auditorium once you have secured our tickets from the automated kiosk.
Excellent. I will also ensure that I have silenced my mobile phone to avoid any disruptions during the performance.
I am looking forward to this. I find that a good movie is an excellent way to transport oneself to another world.
I agree completely. The magic of the cinema is a timeless form of entertainment that never loses its appeal for me.
I will see you inside in a few minutes. Please ensure you get a seat with a clear view of the entire screen.
I shall do my best. I am eager to see if this film lives up to the significant expectations the critics have created.
Lesson 4. Political Rhetoric.
The language used in these mid-century political addresses is remarkably powerful and emotionally charged, is it not?
It is indeed. Some of these attacks are aimed disgracefully at the very sections of society which have fought so hard for progress.
This type of rhetoric was often used to consolidate power by creating a sense of division among the various social classes.
There is much hype in modern political science regarding the return of such populist language in contemporary global politics.
While the style is trending again, its impact on the long-term stability of democratic institutions remains a controversial subject.
I believe that as historians, it is our responsibility to analyze these patterns and educate the public on their consequences.
I shall write a comparative essay that examines the similarities between historical and modern forms of political persuasion.
Do you think that the medium through which a speech is delivered changes the fundamental nature of its message?
Absolutely. The transition from radio to television, and now to social media, has significantly altered how rhetoric is consumed.
I will focus my research on the specific linguistic devices used to evoke fear and loyalty in the listener's mind.
Your focus on the psychological impact of language will add a very valuable dimension to our collective research project.
I find that the most effective speeches are those that appeal to the highest ideals of the audience rather than their lowest fears.
Unfortunately, history shows us that the latter is often more effective in the short term for gaining political momentum.
I shall finalize the translation of the foreign addresses so that we can include them in our international study next month.
Excellent. Having a cross-cultural perspective will help us understand if these rhetorical strategies are truly universal.
I am determined to ensure that our findings are presented in a way that is accessible to the general public, not just scholars.
I share your determination. Knowledge of history is the best defense against being manipulated by the rhetoric of the present.
I will finish my analysis of the Prime Minister's address before the university archive closes for the evening.
I shall stay a bit longer to review the newspaper clippings from that era to see how the public responded to the speech.
Lesson 5. Fashion Accessories.
The base of this evening gown is almost complete, but it requires a final touch to truly elevate the overall aesthetic.
We should begin selecting the accessories for our outfits soon so that the entire collection looks cohesive on the runway.
Good luck, Tess. Let us go shopping and find the specific pieces that will complement the textures of these fabrics.
There is much hype surrounding the maximalist trend, which involves wearing many bold and diverse accessories at once.
While it is trending among younger designers, it is controversial because it can easily become overwhelming and lose its elegance.
I believe that a single, high-quality statement piece is often more effective than a multitude of smaller, distracting items.
I shall look for some vintage gold pieces that will add a sense of timeless sophistication to the minimalist designs.
Do you think we should incorporate some modern materials, such as recycled plastic or industrial metals, into the jewelry?
That would align perfectly with the trending focus on sustainability and innovation in the global fashion industry.
I will organize a meeting with the local artisans who specialize in handcrafted leather belts and high-end footwear.
Your ability to find talented collaborators is what gives our brand its unique and highly respected character in the market.
I find that the right accessory can change the entire mood of an outfit, transforming it from daywear to formal evening attire.
Indeed, the details are what distinguish a merely good garment from a truly exceptional piece of wearable art.
I shall finalize the accessory list tonight and ensure that we stay within the allocated budget for the autumn show.
Excellent. I will focus on the final fitting of the main collection to ensure that the proportions are absolutely perfect.
I am confident that our attention to these small details will result in a very successful and highly praised exhibition.
I share your confidence. Our combined vision and dedication to quality are our most significant competitive advantages.
I will see you in the morning to review the sketches for the footwear line before we visit the production facility.
I look forward to that. I am eager to see how our ideas for the accessories will integrate with the rest of the collection.
Lesson 6. Refreshing choices.
We must ensure that our beverage selection is appropriate for the high temperatures forecast for the garden party.
How about lemonade? Homemade lemonade sounds incredibly refreshing for such an outdoor occasion.
That is an excellent suggestion. Let us bring several large glass dispensers to ensure there is plenty for every guest.
There is currently much hype regarding the addition of fresh lavender or mint to traditional lemonade recipes.
While those variations are trending, some guests find the floral notes to be quite controversial in their beverages.
I believe that offering both a classic version and a botanical version would satisfy all our attendees.
I shall procure a significant quantity of organic lemons from the local market to guarantee the best flavor.
Will you also prepare a sugar-free alternative for those individuals who are conscious of their caloric intake?
Indeed, I intend to use a natural sweetener to ensure that the beverage remains accessible to everyone.
I find that the presentation of the drink is just as important as the taste itself for a formal event.
I agree. We shall garnish each glass with a thin slice of lemon and a sprig of fresh herb for an elegant touch.
I will organize the ice delivery to ensure that the beverages remain perfectly chilled throughout the afternoon.
That is a critical logistical detail, as lukewarm lemonade would certainly be disappointing in this summer heat.
I shall also ensure that we have a sufficient supply of reusable glass straws to maintain our environmental standards.
Your commitment to sustainability is admirable and reflects well on our professional reputation as event planners.
I am confident that our guests will appreciate the effort we have invested into these small details.
I share your confidence. A well-prepared beverage can often be the highlight of a successful social gathering.
I will now move on to finalizing the appetizer menu while you begin the preparation of the lemon base.
I look forward to sampling the final result once we have achieved the perfect balance of sweetness and acidity.
Lesson 7. Forest Preservation.
The sheer scale of the deforestation in this particular region is truly devastating to the local ecosystem.
The problem is that when an old forest is cut, it does not grow back again even after many decades.
The biodiversity contained within these ancient groves is irreplaceable and cannot be replicated by new plantations.
There is much hype surrounding carbon credit programs, but their actual effectiveness remains a controversial topic.
While it is trending for corporations to claim carbon neutrality, the loss of old-growth forests continues unabated.
I believe that the government must implement stricter regulations to protect these vital natural resources from industrial exploitation.
I shall compile a report on the decline of native species that rely exclusively on this specific forest habitat.
Do you think that the general public truly understands the long-term consequences of losing these primary forests?
Unfortunately, many people prioritize short-term economic gains over the preservation of our planetary health.
I will present our findings at the International Environmental Summit to raise awareness among global policymakers.
That is a necessary step. International pressure is often the only way to influence local environmental policies effectively.
I find that once a forest is lost, the soil quality degrades so rapidly that reforestation becomes almost impossible.
Indeed, the complex symbiotic relationships between the trees and the fungi in the soil are destroyed permanently.
I shall coordinate with the local community to establish a protected zone that remains untouched by commercial interests.
Your dedication to this cause is inspiring and essential for the survival of the remaining wilderness areas.
I am determined to ensure that future generations can still experience the majesty of an undisturbed old forest.
I share your determination. We must act as the voices for those natural entities that cannot speak for themselves.
I will finalize the data entries for today before the sun sets and we lose our visibility in the field.
I shall assist you with the heavy equipment as we make our way back to the research station this evening.
Lesson 8: Relocation History.
We must ensure that we have the chronological details of Paul's early life documented with absolute precision.
His family moved to Toronto, Ontario, Canada, when Paul was 9 years old. It was a significant transition.
I have discovered that the young boy was not very interested in traditional academic subjects during his first years there.
There is much hype in recent biographies about his supposed genius, but the evidence suggests he struggled initially.
It is controversial whether his later success was due to his environment in Canada or his innate perseverance.
I believe that the cultural diversity of Toronto played a major role in shaping his unique worldview and artistic style.
I shall cross-reference these dates with the local school records to verify his attendance and academic performance.
Do you believe that moving to a new country at such a formative age influenced his desire to travel later in life?
It is highly probable. Early exposure to different cultures often fosters a lifelong curiosity about the world.
I will research the specific neighborhood where his family resided to understand the social context of his upbringing.
That will provide a rich background for our narrative and help the readers visualize his early environment.
I find that his early letters to his cousins back home reveal a sense of longing for his original birthplace.
Those personal documents are invaluable for capturing the emotional reality of the immigrant experience in that era.
I shall translate the remaining letters by the end of this week so we can include them in the 3rd chapter.
Your meticulous approach to research is precisely what this biography requires to be considered a definitive work.
I am fascinated by how his early struggles in a new city eventually became the foundation of his greatest achievements.
It is a classic narrative of resilience that continues to resonate with many people in our contemporary society.
I will continue to investigate the professional life of his father to see how it impacted the family's stability.
I look forward to reviewing your findings. Every detail we uncover brings us closer to the true essence of his life.
Lesson 9. Stress Management.
We have discussed the importance of mindfulness, but there are other physical activities that can significantly reduce your stress.
I will give it a go. Do you have more suggestions for how I can manage my anxiety more effectively?
Another technique is exercising regularly. Even a brisk walk can alter your brain chemistry and improve your mood.
There is a trending hype regarding high-intensity interval training, but I find it somewhat controversial for beginners.
I believe that consistency is far more important than intensity when you are first establishing a new physical routine.
I find that my schedule is so demanding that I often struggle to find even 30 minutes for personal exercise.
I shall help you identify specific windows of time in your daily calendar that can be dedicated to your well-being.
Do you suggest that I should prioritize morning workouts or evening sessions to achieve the best physiological results?
It depends on your personal circadian rhythm, however. Morning exercise often provides a boost of energy for the day.
I will attempt to incorporate a short yoga session into my routine before I leave for the office tomorrow.
That is an excellent start. Yoga combines physical movement with breath control, which is ideal for stress reduction.
I find that when I am physically active, my ability to solve complex problems at work improves quite noticeably.
Indeed, physical health and cognitive function are deeply interconnected in ways that we are only beginning to understand.
I shall also examine my nutritional habits to see if they are contributing to my feelings of exhaustion and stress.
A balanced diet is another fundamental pillar of health that will support your efforts to maintain professional excellence.
I am feeling much more optimistic about my ability to regain control over my life with these practical strategies.
I am pleased to hear that small, deliberate changes are the most effective way to achieve a lasting transformation.
I will keep a journal of my progress and share it with you during our next consultation session next week.
I look forward to that. I am certain that you will notice a significant improvement in your overall quality of life.
Lesson 10. Coffee Order.
Good morning, Anna. It is a pleasure to see you again so early on this busy Tuesday morning.
Good morning. Can I get a latte, please? I have a long day of court proceedings ahead of me today.
Sure. What size would you like for your beverage today? We offer regular, large, and an extra large option.
I believe a large latte will be sufficient to keep me focused during the morning witness testimonies.
There is much hype surrounding our new oat milk alternative, which has become a very trending choice among our clients.
While plant-based milks are popular, I find the controversy over their environmental impact compared to dairy quite interesting.
I believe that offering a variety of choices allows each individual to align their purchases with their personal values.
I shall also take a small selection of your freshly baked almond biscotti to share with my colleagues later.
I will prepare those for you immediately. They were removed from the oven only 15 minutes ago.
Do you find that the atmosphere of the café changes significantly once the main morning rush has concluded?
Indeed, the environment becomes much more tranquil, which many of our freelance clients find ideal for their work.
I will pay with my mobile device to expedite the transaction as I must reach the courthouse by 9 o'clock.
I understand the importance of punctuality in your profession. I shall ensure your order is completed with great speed.
I find that the quality of the coffee here is consistently superior to any other establishment in this district.
We take great pride in sourcing our beans from sustainable farms and training our staff to the highest standards.
I shall see you again tomorrow morning. I hope your day at the cafe is productive and pleasant.
Thank you, Anna. I wish you the best of luck with your legal cases today and look forward to your next visit.
I will depart now. Thank you for the excellent service and the refreshing start to my professional day.
It is always my pleasure to assist you. I have placed your biscotti in a secure bag for easy transport.
Lesson 11. National Concerns.
The rhetoric used in this address is clearly designed to appeal to a broad sense of national identity and shared purpose.
I feel the same way. It is important for the government to address the underlying causes of social fragmentation.
I have observed that the trending discourse on social media often exacerbates the divisions within our modern nation.
There is much hype about new legislative proposals, but it remains controversial whether they will truly achieve equity.
I believe that effective leadership requires the ability to listen to the concerns of all citizens, regardless of their background.
I find that the most pressing issues for the average person are economic stability and access to high-quality healthcare.
I shall incorporate a discussion on these social trends into my seminar on contemporary governance this afternoon.
Do you think that a centralized government is more effective at managing crises than a decentralized provincial system?
It is a complex debate. While centralization offers speed, decentralization allows for solutions that are tailored to local needs.
I will research the historical precedents for successful national reconciliation programs in other democratic countries.
That would be a valuable contribution to our department's ongoing project on social cohesion and political stability.
I find that the youth are increasingly disillusioned with the traditional political processes and are seeking new forms of engagement.
We must find ways to integrate their voices into the formal structures of the state to ensure the future of our democracy.
I shall prepare a draft of our collaborative paper on the impact of digital media on public opinion by Friday.
Excellent. I will focus on the statistical analysis of the recent election results to provide a solid empirical foundation.
I am hopeful that the current administration will take concrete steps toward fulfilling their promises of national unity.
I share your hope, however. We must remain critical and objective in our analysis of their subsequent legislative actions.
I will finish my review of the current policy documents before I depart for my evening lecture at the city campus.
I shall see you at the faculty meeting tomorrow morning where we can discuss our progress in greater detail.
Lesson 12. Franklin's Innovations.
Benjamin Franklin was a truly remarkable figure whose contributions spanned across numerous diverse fields of study and public service.
In addition to scientific research, Franklin was also an inventor who sought to solve practical problems for the common good.
He famously refused to patent his inventions, believing that they should be used freely by all members of society.
There is much hype surrounding his experiments with electricity, which was a very controversial topic during the 18th century.
While his kite experiment is a trending story in history books, his work on the fluid theory of electricity was far more significant.
I believe that his greatest invention was actually the lightning rod, which saved countless buildings from destruction by fire.
I shall prepare a presentation for the visiting students that highlights his role as a founding father and a diplomat.
Do you find it impressive how he managed to balance his scientific pursuits with his significant political responsibilities?
Indeed, he possessed an extraordinary level of intellectual energy and a profound commitment to the advancement of human knowledge.
I will investigate his work on the bifocal lens and how it revolutionized the field of optometry for millions of people.
That is another example of his ability to apply scientific principles to improve the daily lives of ordinary individuals.
I find that his autobiography provides a fascinating insight into his disciplined approach to self-improvement and moral philosophy.
It remains one of the most influential works in the genre, offering a blueprint for personal and professional development.
I shall ensure that the interactive display on his printing press is functioning correctly for the weekend museum visitors.
That is a popular exhibit, as it allows people to experience the labor-intensive process of disseminating information in the past.
I am grateful to be working in an environment that celebrates the legacy of such a multifaceted and brilliant individual.
I share your sentiment. Franklin's life is a testament to the power of curiosity and the importance of civic engagement.
I will finalize the exhibit labels this afternoon to ensure that the historical context is presented clearly and accurately.
I shall assist you with the final layout of the artifacts to ensure that the narrative flow of the exhibit is logical.
Lesson 13. Infant Fashion.
It is fascinating to see how the market for infant apparel has expanded to include such high quality and stylish options.
Yes, I have been looking for cute baby clothes for several weeks. Have you found any that caught your eye?
I have noticed several organic cotton sets that appear to be both aesthetically pleasing and gentle on a newborn skin.
There is much hype surrounding sustainable fashion for children, which is a trending concern among modern parents today.
While it is trending, the high price point of these ethical brands remains a controversial topic for many families.
I believe that investing in a few durable and high-quality pieces is better than buying many cheap, synthetic items.
I shall check the labels to ensure that these garments are free from any harmful dyes or chemical treatments.
Do you think that the gender-neutral color palettes that are currently popular will remain in style for very long?
I suspect they will. They offer a sophisticated and modern alternative to the traditional pink and blue categories.
I will purchase this set of soft knit hats to ensure the baby is kept warm during our walks in the park.
That is a practical choice. Infants lose a significant amount of body heat through their heads, so protection is essential.
I find that shopping for these small items makes the reality of the upcoming birth feel much more tangible and exciting.
It is a significant life transition, and preparing the physical environment is an important part of the emotional journey.
I shall also look for a comfortable and safe carrier that will allow me to remain mobile while keeping the baby close.
I have read several reviews on the latest ergonomic designs that prioritize both the infant's comfort and the parent's posture.
I am grateful for your assistance today. It is much easier to make these decisions with the help of a trusted friend.
I am happy to support you during this important time. It is a pleasure to see you so well prepared for your new role.
I will finalize my purchases now and then perhaps we could enjoy a formal tea at the cafe across the street.
That sounds like a delightful way to conclude our afternoon. I shall carry your shopping bags to the car for you.
Lesson 14. Sporting odds.
We must analyze the data objectively to understand the immense challenges involved in reaching the elite levels of professional athletics.
It is the dream of many to become stars in any sport, especially golf, where the competition is exceptionally fierce.
The odds, in fact, are so small that there is a much greater chance of winning a major national lottery than turning professional.
There is much hype surrounding young prodigies, but the reality of the pressure they face is a controversial subject in sports psychology.
While the trending focus is often on the physical talent, the mental resilience required to succeed is frequently underestimated.
I believe that the government and sports organizations should provide more support for athletes who do not reach the professional level.
I shall prepare a detailed breakdown of the career trajectories of athletes in your specific age group and skill level.
Do you think that the recent advancements in sports technology have made the path to success easier or more difficult?
Technology has provided better training tools, but it has also increased the overall standard of performance, making the competition even tougher.
I will continue to dedicate myself to my practice routine, regardless of the statistical probabilities of my ultimate success.
That level of dedication is what separates those who enjoy the sport from those who have a chance at a professional career.
I find that the discipline I have learned through competitive golf is valuable in all areas of my personal and professional life.
Indeed, the attributes of perseverance and focus are transferable skills that will serve you well in any future endeavor.
I shall consult with my coach to refine my short game, as the data indicates it is the most critical factor for improvement.
That is a strategic decision. Mastering the subtle aspects of the game often yields the greatest competitive advantages over time.
I am grateful for your honest assessment of the landscape. It allows me to approach my goals with a realistic perspective.
It is my professional responsibility to provide you with a clear and accurate understanding of the sporting world you are entering.
I will return to the practice range now to apply the insights we have discussed during our session today.
I wish you the best of luck. Remember that while the odds are small, they are not impossible for those with exceptional drive.
Lesson 15. Manageable chunks.
I have found that our team's productivity has improved significantly since we adopted this new method of organizing our development cycles.
It breaks the work into manageable chunks, and I can see how that would be beneficial for maintaining a high level of focus.
By focusing on smaller, achievable goals, we can avoid the feeling of being overwhelmed by the total scope of the project.
There is much hype about agile methodologies in the technology sector, but their implementation can be quite controversial.
While the trend is toward rapid iteration, we must ensure that we do not sacrifice the long-term architectural integrity of our software.
I believe that a balanced approach, which combines thorough planning with flexible execution, is the most effective strategy for our team.
I shall assign the primary components of the new user interface to the senior developers by the end of this business afternoon.
Do you find that regular stand-up meetings help to identify potential bottlenecks before they become significant problems?
Indeed, these brief daily check-ins ensure that every team member is aligned and has the resources they need to succeed.
I will prepare a progress report for the executive board to demonstrate the efficiency gains we have achieved this month.
That will be very helpful. Data-driven evidence of our success is essential for securing future funding for our innovative projects.
I find that when the expectations are clear, the morale of the team remains high even during periods of high professional pressure.
Clear communication is the foundation of effective management and is the key to delivering a high-quality product on schedule.
I shall also investigate whether we can integrate some automated testing tools to further streamline our quality assurance process.
That is a proactive suggestion that could save the department a significant amount of time and resources in the long run.
I am looking forward to seeing the final results of this sprint. I am confident that we will exceed our performance targets.
I share your optimism. The dedication and technical skill of our current team are truly impressive and give us a competitive edge.
I will return to my workstation now to finalize the documentation for the upcoming software release on Friday morning.
I shall be available if you require any assistance with the technical specifications or the final deployment procedures.
Lesson 16. Competitive Grocery.
I have been examining the cost of organic produce at this newly established market to determine if it is sustainable for our weekly expenditures.
Yes, the prices are quite competitive compared to other supermarkets in the area, which is a significant advantage for the local community.
It is interesting because there was much hype suggesting that an organic specialty store would be prohibitively expensive.
While that is a common assumption, the trending shift toward local sourcing often reduces the logistical costs associated with transportation.
Some find it controversial that traditional supermarkets still dominate the market despite their often inferior quality of fresh goods.
I believe that as consumers become more educated about nutrition, they are more willing to support businesses that prioritize health over profit margins.
I shall investigate if they offer a loyalty program to further reduce the cost of our professional catering supplies.
Do you believe that the presence of this market will force the larger chains to lower their prices to remain relevant?
It is a strong possibility, as healthy competition typically benefits the consumer by driving innovation and affordability.
I will purchase a selection of these heirloom tomatoes to test the quality of their stock this evening.
Please let me know your assessment, as I am considering suggesting this vendor for our upcoming corporate gala.
I find that the aesthetic arrangement of their storefront is also much more inviting than the sterile environment of a typical grocery store.
Indeed, the human element of commerce is often lost in larger corporate structures, but it is thriving here.
I shall also inquire whether they provide a delivery service for individuals with limited mobility in the neighborhood.
That would be a commendable service that would undoubtedly strengthen their relationship with the local residents.
I am optimistic that this establishment will thrive if they maintain this balance of quality and competitive pricing.
I share your optimism. It is heartening to see a small business challenge the status quo with such a robust strategy.
I will return to the office now, but I intend to perform my full weekly shopping here on Saturday morning.
I shall accompany you then, as I am eager to see their full inventory when the new shipment arrives.
Lesson 17, Human Achievement.
When we reflect upon the history of our species, the sheer magnitude of our collective accomplishments is truly staggering.
We have built unrivaled centers of learning and open public schools to all, ensuring that knowledge is no longer a privilege of the elite.
It is a testament to our curiosity that we have split the atom and explored the heavens to understand our place in the cosmos.
There is much hype surrounding our current technological era, yet we must not forget the foundational discoveries of the past.
Some suggest that our rapid progress is controversial because it often outpaces our ethical considerations regarding new technologies.
I find that the trending focus on short-term innovation sometimes obscures the long-term goal of universal human flourishing.
We must strive to ensure that the spirit of scientific inquiry remains tethered to a commitment to the common good.
Do you believe that the digital age will produce centers of learning that surpass the great universities of previous centuries?
They will certainly be more accessible, though the depth of traditional scholarship remains a standard we must aspire to maintain.
I will continue to advocate for the preservation of physical libraries even as we migrate our knowledge to the cloud.
That is essential, for a physical connection to our history provides a grounding that digital data cannot replicate.
I find it inspiring that we have moved from basic survival to debating the fundamental laws of the universe.
Indeed, the journey from primitive tools to interstellar probes is a narrative of relentless ambition and intellect.
I shall draft a lecture series that highlights these pivotal moments of human advancement for the incoming students.
I look forward to collaborating on that project, as it is vital for the next generation to understand their heritage.
I am confident that our capacity for wonder will continue to drive us toward even greater heights of discovery.
I share that confidence. As long as we value education and inquiry, the potential of our species remains limitless.
I will begin the outline tonight, starting with the Renaissance and leading up to the modern quantum era.
It is a magnificent task to summarize our history, but it is one that clarifies the path for our future.
Lesson 18, Urban Inequality.
The visual disparity between these two adjacent neighborhoods is a poignant reminder of the economic challenges facing our city.
It is a place where everyone seems to be doing well, but there is another part of the city, the part where some people cannot pay their rent.
This division is becoming increasingly controversial as the cost of living continues to escalate in metropolitan areas.
There is trending hype about urban revitalization, but it often leads to the displacement of the very people who need support.
I believe we must develop housing policies that prioritize social equity over purely speculative real estate development.
I find that the most vibrant cities are those that manage to maintain a diverse population representing all economic backgrounds.
I shall present our research on gentrification to the City Council to advocate for more inclusive zoning laws.
Do you believe that the current trend of luxury high-rises is sustainable given the lack of affordable options for the working class?
It is not sustainable in the long term, as a city cannot function without the essential workers who are being priced out.
I will organize a community forum to allow the residents of the struggling district to voice their concerns to the developers.
That is a necessary step to ensure that progress does not happen at the expense of the most vulnerable citizens.
I find it disheartening that basic necessities like housing and food security are still a struggle for so many in such a wealthy nation.
It is a systemic issue that requires a comprehensive and compassionate response from both the public and private sectors.
I shall continue to document the stories of those living in the other part of the city to humanize our statistical data.
Personal narratives are often more persuasive than numbers when it comes to influencing public policy and social change.
I am hopeful that our work will contribute to a more balanced and just urban environment for all residents.
I share your hope. A city is only as strong as its weakest community, and it is our duty to bridge this gap.
I will finalize the report by tomorrow afternoon so that we are fully prepared for the council hearing on Wednesday.
I look forward to presenting our findings. It is time for the city to acknowledge and address this duality.
Lesson 19. Systematic Design.
The scope of this project is quite vast, and we must ensure that every detail aligns with the client's minimalist vision.
I always start with a plan so I do not get overwhelmed by the sheer number of options available to us.
That is a very disciplined approach. Without a clear structure, it is easy to lose sight of the primary aesthetic goals.
There is much hype in the industry regarding maximalist decor right now, which is quite controversial for its complexity.
While it is trending, I find that a well-organized, minimalist space provides a much more tranquil environment for the inhabitants.
I believe that the selection of materials should be our first priority before we consider any decorative elements.
I shall draft a digital 3D model of the living area to visualize how the natural light interacts with different textures.
Do you think that the trend towards smart homes will eventually render traditional interior design principles obsolete?
On the contrary, technology should be integrated seamlessly to enhance the classic principles of comfort and balance.
I will contact our suppliers to ensure that the sustainable wood flooring we selected is currently in stock.
Your focus on sustainability is essential, as modern clients are increasingly concerned with the environmental impact of their homes.
I find that a systematic process allows for more creative freedom because the fundamental logistics are already managed.
I agree. Once the foundation is secure, we can experiment with more daring accent pieces and lighting fixtures.
I shall organize our next meeting with the architect to ensure that the electrical outlets are placed according to our furniture layout.
Excellent. I will finalize the budget estimates this evening to ensure we remain within the client's financial parameters.
I am very excited to see this empty space transformed into a sophisticated and functional home.
It is a rewarding process, and with our structured plan, I am certain the final result will be exceptional.
I will see you at the studio tomorrow morning to review the fabric choices for the primary bedroom suite.
I look forward to it. A methodical start is the key to a successful and stress-free creative execution.
Lesson 20. Pizza Toppings.
I have spent several hours preparing this dough to ensure it achieves the perfect texture after being baked at a high temperature.
I usually go for mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, and some sliced vegetables to create a balanced and traditional flavor profile.
That is a classic combination, though I am tempted to experiment with some more artisanal ingredients this evening.
There is much hype regarding the use of honey or fruit on pizza, which remains a very controversial topic among purists.
While those combinations are trending in modern pizzerias, I believe the quality of the crust is the most important factor.
I find that using fresh basil from our garden adds a vibrant aroma that dried herbs simply cannot replicate.
I shall monitor the oven temperature closely to ensure that the bottom of the pizza is crisp while the cheese remains tender.
Do you think that the type of flour used has a significant impact on the final nutritional value of the meal?
Absolutely. Using a high-quality 00 flour provides a superior structure and a better experience for the palate.
I will arrange the toppings in a symmetrical pattern to ensure that every slice provides an equal distribution of flavors.
Your attention to detail is admirable. A well-constructed pizza is as much a work of art as it is a meal.
I find that cooking from scratch is a much more satisfying experience than ordering a pre-prepared meal from a restaurant.
I agree. It allows us to control the quality of every ingredient and avoid any unnecessary additives or preservatives.
I shall prepare a light balsamic salad to serve as a side dish to complement the richness of the cheese.
That is a sensible addition. The acidity of the vinegar will provide a refreshing contrast to the savory pizza.
I am quite hungry now that the aroma of the baking dough is beginning to fill the entire kitchen.
It will be ready in approximately 8 minutes. I am eager to see if our collaborative effort has been a success.
I will set the table with our formal linens to celebrate the completion of our culinary project tonight.
I look forward to that. There is nothing more rewarding than sharing a meal that has been prepared with such care.
Lesson 21. Darwin's Voyage.
The history of biological science was fundamentally altered by the expeditions conducted during the 19th century.
The Beagle and the ship left England in 1831. The ship's voyage took Darwin around the entire world over 5 years.
It is fascinating to consider that he was only 22 years old when he began this monumental journey of discovery.
There is still much hype and debate surrounding his theories, which remains a controversial subject in some educational circles.
While his observations are trending in modern genomic research, the courage it took to publish his findings is truly noteworthy.
I find that his meticulous journals provide an unrivaled insight into the development of the theory of natural selection.
I shall emphasize his stay in the Galapagos Islands during our lecture, as that was a pivotal moment for his research.
Do you believe that Darwin could have reached his conclusions without the opportunity to travel so extensively by sea?
It is unlikely. The exposure to diverse ecosystems and unique species was essential for identifying the patterns of evolution.
I will create a digital timeline of the voyage to help the students visualize the vast distances covered by the crew.
That would be an excellent teaching aid, as it illustrates the logistical challenges of scientific research in that era.
I find it inspiring that a single voyage could result in a paradigm shift that still influences our understanding of life today.
Indeed, it reminds us that observation and curiosity are the most powerful tools available to a scientist.
I shall also mention the captain of the ship, Robert Fitzroy, and his own contributions to the field of meteorology.
That is a fair point. Scientific progress is often a collaborative effort, even if history remembers only a few individuals.
I am eager to see the students' reactions when we discuss the implications of his work on modern medicine and ecology.
I share your enthusiasm. Understanding our origins is fundamental to appreciating the complexity of the natural world.
I will finish the presentation slides tonight so we can review them before the first seminar tomorrow morning.
I look forward to it. The story of the beagle is a perfect example of how exploration drives the expansion of human knowledge.
Lesson 22. Weekend Inquiries.
When we are introduced to a new acquaintance in a professional setting, it is polite to inquire about their personal interests.
What is a question you ask to learn someone's favorite weekend activity without appearing too intrusive?
One might ask, how do you prefer to spend your leisure time when you are away from your professional responsibilities?
That is a very sophisticated phrasing. There is much hype around using icebreaker questions in modern social networking.
While such questions are trending, it is often controversial whether they lead to a genuine connection or merely a superficial exchange.
I believe that showing a sincere interest in the response is more important than the specific wording of the question itself.
I shall practice this technique during the corporate luncheon scheduled for the upcoming Friday afternoon.
Do you find that people are generally eager to discuss their hobbies, or do they prefer to maintain a strictly professional boundary?
Most individuals appreciate a brief departure from work-related topics, provided the conversation remains respectful and appropriate.
I will attempt to ask about their favorite local cultural events to discover if we share any common intellectual interests.
That is an excellent strategy. It allows for a natural transition into a discussion about art, music, or local history.
I find that I am often more comfortable in social situations when I have a repertoire of formal questions prepared in advance.
Preparation is the key to confidence in any form of communication, especially when using a second language.
I shall also observe the body language of my conversation partner to ensure that they are comfortable with the topic.
Very wise. Nonverbal cues are just as significant as the words we choose in maintaining a pleasant social atmosphere.
I am feeling much more prepared to engage in meaningful dialogue with my international colleagues next week.
I am pleased to hear that. Your commitment to mastering the nuances of formal English is truly commendable and evident.
I will continue to practice these phrases with my language exchange partner this evening to ensure they feel natural.
I look forward to hearing about your experiences. Remember that a good conversation is a balance of speaking and listening.
Lesson 23. Café Selection.
The variety of pastries available at this establishment is quite impressive. It is difficult to make a final selection.
The almond croissant is perfect. It is the signature item here, and I highly recommend that you experience its quality.
I will order that for you, and perhaps I shall try the pain au chocolate to compare the different textures of the pastry.
Let us also request a pot of their finest Earl Grey tea to accompany our selection of traditional French sweets.
There is much hype surrounding this specific café in the travel guides, which is often a controversial indicator of actual quality.
While it is trending among tourists, the local residents still frequent this place for its commitment to traditional baking methods.
I shall proceed to the counter to place our order while you secure a table by the window overlooking the boulevard.
Do you think that the modern trend of fusion pastries will eventually replace these classic recipes in high-end bakeries?
I believe there will always be a demand for perfection in traditional forms, even as new culinary trends emerge.
I will wait here. I find that the atmosphere of a quiet morning in a cafe is the best time for deep conversation.
I agree. The lack of distractions allows us to focus entirely on the quality of the food and the company.
I find it interesting that such a simple combination of flour, butter, and almonds can result in such a sophisticated flavor.
It is a testament to the skill of the pastry chef, who must manage the temperature and timing with absolute precision.
I shall also inquire if they offer a selection of their pastries in a presentation box to take as a gift for our host.
That would be a very thoughtful gesture. The presentation of their packaging is as elegant as their food itself.
I am very glad we decided to stop here. It is a refreshing pause in our busy afternoon of sightseeing.
I share your sentiment. A well-chosen snack in a beautiful environment is one of the true pleasures of international travel.
I will finish my notes on the local architecture while we wait for the refreshments to be served at our table.
I look forward to the arrival of the pastries. I am certain they will exceed the high expectations set by their reputation.
Lesson 24. Service charges.
The meal was exceptional, but I must review the final statement to ensure that all the items have been recorded accurately.
Service. Yes, there is a small service charge added to the total, which is standard practice in many high-end establishments.
I noticed that it is a fixed percentage, which is a trending policy that some diners find quite controversial.
While it is trending, it ensures that the staff receives a fair and consistent gratuity regardless of the guest's personal habits.
I believe that if the service is truly exceptional, one should still have the option to provide an additional reward for the staff.
I find that the convenience of an included charge simplifies the final transaction and prevents any social awkwardness at the table.
I shall calculate if the total amount aligns with the prices listed on the menu we were provided at the start.
Do you believe that the quality of service in formal restaurants has improved since these mandatory charges became more common?
It is difficult to say, however. It provides a level of financial stability for the employees that was previously lacking.
I will check the bill to see if the beverages were also included in the service charge calculation this evening.
In this specific restaurant, the charge applies to the entire subtotal, which is a common but debated industry standard.
I find that the transparency of the billing process is essential for maintaining the reputation of a fine dining establishment.
I agree. A clear and accurate receipt is the final touch of a professional and high-quality dining experience.
I shall use my corporate card for this expense, as it was a formal business consultation regarding the new merger.
That is appropriate. I will ensure that you receive the physical copy of the receipt for your accounting department's records.
I am satisfied with the overall experience. The staff was attentive without being intrusive throughout the entire evening.
I share your satisfaction. The balance of high-quality cuisine and professional service is what defines a great restaurant.
I will leave a small additional gratuity for our waiter, as his knowledge of the wine list was particularly impressive.
That is a generous and well-deserved gesture. I shall finalize the payment, and then we can depart for the opera.
Lesson 25, Social Minefields.
This section of the museum captures the profound anxieties and social changes that defined the latter half of the last century.
You negotiated private lives through a minefield of new strains of VD and the ascending shadow of AIDS during those decades.
It was a period of intense fear and controversy, as the medical community struggled to understand and combat these new challenges.
There is much hype in current media about the carefree nature of that era, but the reality was often much more somber.
While the fashion and music are trending again, the underlying social tensions of the time are often overlooked by the youth.
I believe that the lessons learned during the crisis are essential for our current management of global public health issues.
I shall write an article for the historical journal that examines the impact of these health crises on interpersonal relationships.
Do you find it impressive how individuals manage to find hope and community despite the prevailing atmosphere of uncertainty?
Indeed, the resilience of the human spirit is most evident when it is tested by such significant and personal threats.
I will research the artistic movements that emerged as a response to the health crises of the 1980s and 90s.
Art has always been a powerful medium for processing social trauma and providing a voice for those who are marginalized.
I find that looking back at these artifacts provides a necessary perspective on how far we have come in medical science.
It also serves as a reminder that progress is often born out of necessity and the courage of those who refuse to be silent.
I shall finalize the notes for our collaborative study on social behavior during periods of medical uncertainty this evening.
Excellent. I will focus on the shifts in public policy that occurred as a direct result of the activism of that period.
I am grateful that we have the opportunity to study these events with the benefit of historical distance and objectivity.
I share that sentiment. Understanding our past is the only way to navigate the potential minefields of our own future.
I will move to the next gallery now. It focuses on the technological revolution that followed the social changes of that era.
I shall follow you shortly. I want to spend a few more moments reflecting on the gravity of the information presented here.